Nice to have you here. Thanks for coming. We're glad to have you with us today on Bright Moments.
Thanks so much, Lynn. Great to be back visiting you and spending some time talking to about music and playing music.
It's what we love the most, isn't it, is the playing of it.
Exactly.
But let me ask one question before we hear you on this grand piano. As a young man, your training was in classical music, and you were also interested in jazz and, of course, listened to Brazilian popular styles. So is your music today a combination of classical jazz and Brazilian styles, or how would you describe it?
Well, actually, you just said it. That's how I often describe my music, a combination, of those three elements I have been exposed to the most. Classical, uh, Brazilian music, because that's where I am from originally, and eventually jazz. But I must say that I was interested in improvisation, the idea of improvisation, way before I even heard the word jazz for the first time.
And where did that come from, your interest in improvisation?
Well, I remember that even as a young person practicing piano, I'm talking about my daily routine of practice. I would always reserve at the end of my practice sessions enough time for me to improvise and just improvise freely. That was something that came very naturally to me. I always enjoyed doing that. Then I learned that even though the improvisation had been removed from the conservatory programs, somehow it had been kept in the program of the organ. So the organists were the only ones who were allowed to have that as part of their curriculum. But I allowed myself that in my own curriculum, and that's something that I have always done, improvising.
Which of the many Brazilian styles of music have had the greatest impact on you?
Um, well, I can tell you the name of a few musicians, composers that were very meaningful in my upbringing, musically. People such as Hermeto Pascoal, Egberto Gismonti, and there were great musicians, pianists, arrangers like Cesar Camargo Mariano, and not to mention that I don't want to talk only about the piano players, but there are still great musicians. They're very much inspiring me, like Milton Nascimento, who's an amazing artist, Dori Caymmi, Ivan Lins. So actually, if I may, I'm from Brazil, so it's funny saying that, but the truth is, when I think about the music of Brazil, it could very easily be described as an embarrassment of riches.
Indeed, yes. There's so much to choose from, and you were exposed to much of it growing up, and you still listen to it, of course. Ivan Lins continues to produce, is that correct?
Yes, very much so. But the only thing that has changed for me, especially I've been in the States, by the way, for 25 years. So next year I'll have lived in the States for as long as I lived in Brazil. So, but the only thing that I have been changing more and more over the years is how I define the very term Brazilian music. In fact, when I go around the world and not only playing but giving workshops in Brazilian music, the first thing that I like to say is that the very term Brazilian music is very vague. It doesn't mean much. It would be like someone saying, I play American music. So that wouldn't be specific at all, because there's such a wide spectrum of styles and genres in Brazil. But I must say also, Lynn, that there has been, because of how American music came to the States via jazz, these days we still find a lot of young jazz players for whom the first contact with Brazilian music is through American jazzers. And a lot of times that will not be a very good representation of what that music is.
Yes. We're speaking to Weber Iago on Bright Moments Grand Piano Series, and we're very anxious to hear you play the piano today. What do you have prepared for us?
I would like to start with a composition that I wrote back in 2004. That I usually play this song solo, even though I have played it a number of times with my trio in California. It's titled "Count Your Blessings," and is in the style of Choro. And this one is like a Choro Serenata, or Choro Serenade. And this was a very popular style of music around the turn of the century in Rio de Janeiro.
Weber Iago on our Grand Piano Series.